Hi, my name is Angela Hatcher. This is my Bio 121 term project. I decided to focus on leave no trace ethics, which minimizes impact when hiking outdoors. So, Leave No Trace Outdoor Ethics were founded to solve a critical problem our protected lands are facing, which is the massive quantity of visitors with little to no education on how to care for the outdoors while they're enjoying it, the overall impact that that leaves on those environments and ecosystems. So, there's two pillars here. We want to protect wildlife and protect the ecosystems that surround that wildlife with Leave No Trace ethics. There are a couple key problems that these ethics are designed to solve. Damaged trailheads, polluted or contaminated water, connecting youth and nature, preserving wildlife that are at risk, minimizing the impact of destructive fires, and then addressing the issue of overcrowded parks. The four common mistakes that I wanted to focus on addressing in this presentation are the improper disposal of human waste, the improper disposal of food waste and plastics, improper wildlife interactions, and then the improper ending of campfires. So Leave No Trace Ethics is awesome because they have specific solutions and strategies that they teach people for how to address these particular mistakes that people make in the outdoors. So I'll be going over those for this portion of the presentation. So first and foremost, disposal of human waste. The solution for this from Leave No Trace Ethics is to dig a cat hole or pack it out. So when digging a cat hole, these must be at least 200 feet, which is about 70 adult paces, from water sources, trailheads, and also campgrounds. They need to be an inconspicuous site where people will be unlikely to walk or camp. When you are digging a cat hole, it's important to bring a small garden trowel with you, and then on whatever type of soil you're digging on, usually you can only do this on soils that are a little bit looser and less compact. Dig a hole that's about 6 to 8 inches deep with a 4 to 6 inch diameter. You should put the dirt over the cat hole after you're finished disposing of your human waste there, and then cover it with natural materials when you're finished to ensure that your human waste is going to properly biodegrade within that soil. It's also important to note here that if you're camping in an area for more than one night or with a large group of people, those cat hole sites should be dispersed as to not have too much contamination within a certain square mileage of another. The other option is to pack it out. And so if you are staying in something that is more of like a canyon or a desert type environment, this is your only solution because you will not physically be able to dig a cat hole in that environment, as it could be very detrimental to the ecosystem and the types of soils that exist there, or rocks. There are several EPA-approved commercially produced pack-out systems, easy to use, sanitary for backpacking and hiking. If you're doing something that is along the lines of river kayaking, there's different systems to be used there. But as more people enjoy parks and protected areas, packing out human waste is going to become a more common practice to ensure long-term sustainability over cat holes instead. The second mistake here is improper disposal of food waste and plastic. So our solution here is to bring plastic bags and bear canisters with you while you're hiking or backpacking. Smelly garbage leads to unwanted critters at your campsite. It's important that you put any unused food or any type of product or plastic wrapping that has touched food in a bear canister, specifically so that you are not attracting bears, foxes, deer, or anything like that to your campsite. In addition, general plastic litter is a huge no-no. Not only is it detracting from the beauty of the ecosystem and the environment that you're in, but it could also be harmful to the wildlife that exists within these ecosystems. So I always like to bring Ziploc plastic bags, and I put my trash in there, whether it's tissues or, plastic wrapping from power bars or anything like that. You zip it in the plastic bag and put it in your backpack, and don't dispose of it until there is a dedicated trash bin or trash receptacle to make sure. And this goes for organic litter as well, such as orange peels or pistachio shells. You want to make sure that you are physically packing out everything that would not have existed in that environment had you not been there. The third is wildlife interactions. So it's quite jarring when you see a creature in the wild for the first time. I remember the first time I saw a black bear, I was incredibly excited about it. But it's important that you do not disturb wildlife or plants just for a better look. You have to observe through quiet observation and from a safe distance so that these animals are not scared, forced to flee, or feel like they need to defend or attack because you're infringing on their territory. Large groups often cause more damage to the environment and are more disruptive to wildlife, so keep your group small. And if you're in a large group, it's important to break up into smaller ones to minimize your impact. Most importantly here, travel quietly. Do not pursue, feed, or force animals to flee. One exception here is in bear country, where it's good to make a little noise as not to startle the bears, but it's also important to know what exactly the wildlife situation is in the specific areas you're traveling to. For example, brown bears and black bears, they react very differently to certain types of stimuli, so it's important you know for your safety and the animal's safety how to properly address those situations should you encounter an animal in wildlife. The fourth is a simple one, which is improper ending of campfires. And in order to address this, Leave No Trace encourages people to thoroughly extinguish your fire. Campfires that are not properly extinguished lead to a multitude of issues. You want to wait until the very bitter end to make sure your campfire is thoroughly extinguished. Do not go to your tent, head back to camp until you're sure everything is entirely out. Even just the tiniest embers and sparks that are still existing there could lead to a fire spreading across the area you're in, which is harmful to you, wildlife, and organisms that exist in that area. And just to tie this back to some of the curriculum that we've learned in class, so there are severe impacts of not using these ethics. For example, animals that begin to hunt outside of their typical hunting areas and patterns when they know they can rely on human camps to get scraps and food have a very poor and drastic impact across food webs because now they are going to a source that did not exist within their natural habitat before. Improper human waste disposed too close to water sources or hiking trails leads to contamination and numerous amounts of diseases that could be spread to humans and animals in that environment. And then interacting with wildlife could put you or the animal in a dangerous or life-threatening situation, and we want to be very aware of our impact as humans in these environments. Hiking is awesome for your mental and physical health, and I do want to encourage everyone to partake when they can. It's important that whether you're in a national park, a state park, or on your local trail system, you practice some of these ethics so you get more familiar with the process and you leave the lands exactly as you encountered them, leaving no trace of your impact to preserve them for generations to come. And if you want to learn more, you can visit the website linked right here, which is www.lnt.org, which stands for Leave No Trace. Thank you.